Ja, herzlich willkommen zu einer neuen Ausgabe AC Talk und ich bin in Vancouver, wie Sie wissen. Es ist irgendwo später Jänner 2025 und ich bin bei Canagold und ich bin Interessenkonflikt Aktionär, also ich habe einen Conflict of Interest hier. Und ja, das letzte Interview haben wir gemacht im April 23. Das ist ja schon lang aus, das sind 20 Monate her und in den letzten 20 Monaten sind viele Dinge passiert. Und der Catalin wird uns jetzt einfach einmal erzählen, was in den letzten 20 Monaten so passiert ist. Okay, thank you for your time. And I said in my German introduction, I have a conflict of interest. So I'm a shareholder. The second is the last interview was 20 months ago.
I know German, so I understand everything you said.
Oh, so I must be dangerous.
Thank you.
It's 20 months ago. So what's happened in the company in the last 20 months?
Yeah. Great to see you, first of all.
Thank you. You too.
And I think it's about time we give an update. I think to investors with your network, and as a lot happened on the positive side. Also, I think the share price since we last spoke, it's been doubled. I think since we last spoke, which is I think one measurable thing.
Absolutely, especially when we look at the industry and most of the company is not doing well.
Yeah.
So.
But I think fundamentally what's driving that, it's really advancing finally the project through permitting and the technical work, which is feasibility study of the project, right? Mm-hmm. So essentially, we are now approaching year 2, like almost 2 years since we started the permitting process. It started in March 2023. And we are probably looking at, end of 26 for the big milestone, which is called the environmental assessment certificate being granted, mm-hmm. which then enables the company to get their mining permits, right? Mm-hmm. So, we are, I would say, more than halfway through the process. Process has been going very well in terms of being able to stay on time, on track. Mm-hmm. And it has really 2 main components. One, which is the most important one, is the First Nations. Mm-hmm. And then the second one, which goes hand in hand with the first one, it's the BC environmental process, right? Mm-hmm. We have been very fortunate to have a very good relationship with TRTFM, which is Takorika Tlingit First Nation. This is the First mm-hmm. Nation where the project territory is located in. And we announced going back to over a year ago an agreement with them, which basically set up the basis of collaboration together, how we get to the end, how we get to the eventual consent for the project. And that it really entailed a lot, because we have, since then, we've had a very strict and robust plan on how we meet and what we talk, and pretty much everything we do, we talk with them. And as a result of that, there's been still our weekly meetings and constant interactions. So that all fits into the BC side. So I think it's great, despite the fact that people have seen some announcement of moving through the process. It's not a process where we can have a news every other day, right? Mm-hmm. So it's in a way not too much news, but it's been a lot of progress.
Yeah, but when especially when you say news, it's come to my mind when I look at the last press releases. You're coming up with some Antimon. And Antimon is a very interesting commodity, especially after the Chinese export ban of Antimon and some other commodities.
Yeah, correct.
So can you give us a little bit more insight about this Antimon, what this means for the company?
That's actually a very good point. Like it's a great surprise, to be honest with you, right? And I think, as you rightly said, the recent increase of antimony price is almost threefold over the last a year and a half. It's mainly due to the fact that most of it came from China, still comes from China, and it's been banned. And US a big user. I mean, yes, antimony uses are many of them, including weapons, and this is where basically US has been basically making a lot of funding available for projects that can produce antimony in friendly countries or the USA. Now let's go back to Canagold. Like Canagold's presence of antimony is known since the early times of 1950s.
Okay.
And luckily, as we were drilling this project for the last decade, and why not, when we do an assay certificate, we are looking for multi-elements gold being the main one, but we also assay for sulfur, antimon, and other things, silver, and why not. And as a result of that, we are sitting on thousands and thousands of assay certificates that shows antimony presence. And when we looked at how much is it, it's actually a significant number. And we've had a news release that puts this in perspective. So it's really basically high grade antimony. Why is it exciting? Because it comes with the gold concentrate. It's effectively paid for, right? In a way, it's previously to that, was a problem. How do you get rid of? Now it's a good situation. How do you take it out and make money from it, right? So, and I think there are technical ways to take it out and basically be able to sell it, right? So what are we doing concretely on that? Over the course of the next month, we will be aiming to publish an updated 431 resource which include antimony. Why so quickly and why so easily? It's for the reasons I explained earlier. We have the numbers. It's a matter of putting them next to the gold numbers and coming up with a quantity so people know how much we got. And then our objective is to include additional revenue, as part of the additional revenue stream in the current feasibility we are working to complete this year alongside gold. Right? So that's additional revenue to the project, which is significant. Why? Because it comes at the end and it's pure profit, basically, right? Because you already paid our cost to produce gold concentrate which contains antimony. So it could have a significant impact on the economics. And what that also does to the project, it's really allowing us to show that it's a critical mineral and gold project, right? And that in turn opens up the door for funding that is currently available from Canada, US, and why US? Because the project is located at about 30 miles away from the US border, very close to Juneau, Alaska. It's actually 30 miles to Juneau. It's much closer to the border, and there is the potential of processing, refined product in US where you have antimony. So this is an interesting development. I'll be careful to say that we won't have very quick answers on that. But the aim right now is to focus on the existing antimony in the concentrate and how much we can get paid for it. And add that in the feasibility, right? And then furthermore, explore those possible grants that we could get from the Canadian and the US government.
Yeah, and I believe maybe we see a lot of funding will come out of US and Canada, but mainly from US. Then with this export ban, it looks like that we're in a kind of trade war, and it looks like with resources
and that's exactly it.
And they need it.
They absolutely need it. And I think Canada still, despite the talks of tariffs and whatnot, is still a very friendly country to US.
Absolutely.
So I think let's face the reality that Canada is a critical partner for US, and and we know actually for a fact, based on initial general discussion. There is US funding available, possibly for Canadian projects, right? From that perspective, and it's something we are exploring further. But that combined with the fact that there could be some processing done in the US, it's basically bringing a different opportunity to the project, right?
And I see this some other project that really. The Department of Defense sponsored a lot of companies.
Correct.
For critical metals and so on and so on. So,
yeah, exactly.
So, I think this is a nice surprise.
It is a nice surprise, and I think we were due for some good news.
Especially in this period when we come into a period where we say, okay, this is quieter for a company, then you're in the permitting process.
Yeah.
So it's really a great surprise.
Exactly.
Coming maybe a little bit on basic stuff, looking at shareholder structure, do you see something that dramatically changes here in the last 2 years or something?
Yes, and I think last time we spoke, we already had Sun Valley as our largest shareholder. I believe at that time was somewhere around 20% and you have to remind investors that Sun Valley is a private investment group. They have their own gold mines and why not fully integrated, very sizable investors, and they have provided back then a financing commitment to Canagold to finance the company to the current process. and efforts. And as a result of that, their ownership has increased to about 48.5% since we last spoke. And their commitment has not changed. So I think currently Sun Valley owns just under 50% of the shares of Canagold. And they've been an excellent partner, and they still are fully committed to the project.
Are they buying out in the market too, or only via private placements?
Yeah, they've been only buying through private placements, which have not been many, but there's been a few in the last few years. And off the market, they also had some blocks that they crossed, which is again this all is disclosed because they being such a level, all those trades can be found on CDI, but they are really not able to buy in the market like a normal investor would. There are limitations when you get to this level of ownership, but what's really that entails is that you have this large shareholder who's kind of backstopping the company, right? And it's a unique position to be in because despite we're seeing record gold prices even today, and over the last year and a half has been great for gold, yet there's no capital really in mostly for companies.
Yeah,
so it's a very interesting reality really, that people are puzzled about. You have gold at record high prices, yet companies can't really raise money. There's a few that do, but it's I guess I would say it's the new reality. I mean, everybody says, okay, we're gonna get there. There's gonna be lots of money. It's not. And what if it's this the new reality?
Yeah, but on the other hand, we must say that especially the two big gold companies are not delivering any profit for the company. When you look at Newmont and Barrick,
correct.
Nobody is really excited about their performance.
That's exactly
and when these two majors are not really performed by investors, when you look at underneath and you look Kinross, Eldorado, or Agnico or Alamos, then you say, oh, we have companies that do well and that they have bring some value to the shareholder, but the big two ones are not.
No, I agree, and again, it's a flight to quality, right? And this is something investors should always do when they make investments. They should look at quality and the risk, right? Big companies, they're not necessarily the best companies, right?
Anything new what the shareholder should know what's happened in the last 2 years by the company?
I think with this kind of covers it. I mean, maybe there is a question why did the feasibility not been published yet? Because we were planning initially to have it out late last year. There are some reasons for that, which are very positive, I would say. All those developments that we've been going through, we're trying to incorporate in the feasibility study, right? And this is one of them, the Antimon. The second one, we've looked at how can we generate power, and historically it's only been diesel, and this is how mainly this project worked in the past and very likely work in the future. But we've identified hydro options. The project does have some realistic run-of-river type hydro that could supply potentially up to 50% of power needs on an annualized basis, right? So those are the changes that, or I guess opportunities that will have the potential to have a positive impact on the feasibility. So we've been working on those to eventually come up with a phase that has everything included, right? And on the other hand, there is also the situation where yes, you have a fees, but then where is your permits, right? Like, this is a very fine line, and I understand, and we want to have a fees out as soon as possible too, but it has to be done sound and make sure that everything is captured, everything is optimized, and investors have a visibility to permit, because the next question is, okay, great project, but can you get the permits? And so I think, and that's kind of been really the reasons why the fees is not out yet, but there's a lot of work that's been done on it, and is advancing as we speak. And at this stage, I won't put a date on it, but we want to have it out soon, meaning during this year, hopefully, and that's kind of the plan.
Okay. Yeah, Catalin, thank you for the update. Really great one. Ja, schauen wir, dass wir das jetzt nochmal zusammenfassen. Also, Sie sind mitten in dem Permitting-Prozess. Sie sind ungefähr die Hälfte durch. Sie erwarten irgendwo 26 irgendwann einmal auch die Final Permitting. Wichtig ist, dass mit den First Nations First Nations ist ein wichtiger Punkt mittlerweile hier in Kanada. Also es muss mit den First Nations eigentlich das ziemlich ausverhandelt sein, also es muss weitergekommen sein, weil die einfach ohne Permitting, ohne die First Nations nicht möglich ist. Da sind sie auf einem guten Weg. Das Zweite, was jetzt ist, wir haben jetzt gerade zum Schluss jetzt über die Feasibility Study geredet, die haben ja viele erwartet, dass das letztes Jahr rauskommt. Sie haben es verschoben. Warum? Oder sie sind mitten in dem Prozess. Es werden verschiedene Sachen eingearbeitet, zum Beispiel eben die Stromversorgung. Dort in der Gegend wird normalerweise mit Diesel das gemacht, aber es gibt Options, dass man das teilweise mit Wasserkraft machen kann. Das ist die eine Sache. Und das Zweite ist ein ganz wichtiger Punkt. Durch den Exportbein von China von Antimon ist ihr Antimon-Anteil, den sie im Projekt haben, und das wissen sie, weil sie die ganzen Analysen die letzten Jahre schon immer Antimon und so weiter mitanalysiert haben, ist das Projekt jetzt, dieses Nebenprodukt, das eigentlich vorher Abfall war und eigentlich schlecht war, weil es eigentlich nur Kosten verursacht, wenn man es beim Konzentrat herausnehmen muss, auf einmal ein wertvolles Gut geworden. Und das könnte jetzt eigentlich ein sehr positiver Effekt haben auf die Feasibility und natürlich auf die Wirtschaftlichkeit des ganzen Projektes. Es war die letzte Pressemeldung war genau auf dieses Antimon abgelegt. Sie haben, wie gesagt, alle Analysendaten da, weil sie auch schon in der Vergangenheit immer auf diese Metalle gesucht haben. Und deswegen wird jetzt auch dementsprechend die ganzen Schätzungen abgedatet, und das dauert halt natürlich seine Zeit. Aber wie gesagt, es ist extrem positiv, weil eben sie die ganze Analyse da da haben und der Antimon-Preis so gestiegen ist, dass sie jetzt wirklich einen Anteil bekommen, das eigentlich nur auf die Bottomline quasi ein Profit niederschlägt, weil es ja, wie gesagt, im Prozess sowieso schon inkludiert war, dass sie es rausnehmen müssen. Was gibt es noch? Ja, Sun Valley ist der Name auf
Sun Valley.
Sun Valley war damals, wie wir gesprochen haben, das letzte Interview, haben sie um die 24% gehabt. Die sind jetzt knapp bei 48,5 oder so, also knapp unter 50%, haben ihren Anteil aufgestockt. Es ist natürlich sehr, sehr gut, wenn man so einen Partner hat, der aus der Produktion kommt, der weiß, wie genau sowas funktioniert, der kann natürlich auch das dann tatsächlich auch umsetzen, und ich würde jetzt einmal sagen, es besteht eine extrem hohe Wahrscheinlichkeit, dass das Projekt mit denen umgesetzt wird, weil mit 48,5%, ja, da kann man es nicht mehr umgeben, da ist man quasi Mehrheitseigentümer, und von daher müssen die natürlich auch dann dementsprechend für die Finanzierung sorgen, und das ist eigentlich ein sehr guter Punkt, sage ich mal, wo man dann sagt, okay, die Zukunft ist gesichert, was von der finanziellen Seite her geht. Interessantes Update, der Aktienkurs selber ist ja fast um 100% gestiegen die letzten 2 Jahre, seitdem wir das letzte Mal gesprochen haben. Das ist eine super Performance für das, was der Markt eigentlich hergibt. Auch wenn der Goldpreis wahnsinnig gestiegen ist, wenn man ehrlich ist, der Rohstoffmarkt selber, also der Juniormarkt, ist wirklich in ganz schlechten Verfassung. Wenn man nur die Aktien, die meisten anschaut, glaubt man, wir sind in einem absoluten Bärenmarkt und nicht, dass das Gold bei $2.750 steht pro Unze. Ja, das war es eigentlich als Update von Canagold. Ich bin, wie gesagt, Aktionär, also ich habe einen Conflict of Interest und bin schon lange drinnen. Ich weiß gar nicht, wie lange ich schon drinnen bin auf der Aktie. Aber wie gesagt, das ist ein Projekt, das scheinbar, würde ich sagen, mit einer extrem hohen Wahrscheinlichkeit in Produktion geht, sobald die Permitting dementsprechend erledigt ist. Das war es vom Jänner 2025 von Vancouver, Canagold. Tschüss und Baba, für Teil.
Thank you. Dankeschön.